everyone, welcome back to this week's STEMcast podcast. Today we are joined by Chloe DaCosta from Year 9. She's a creative and performing arts scholar, and today we're going to be talking about women in STEM. So Chloe, how would you like to start this off?
So this is a topic that both you and me, Hannah, can relate to, because even though I do creative and performing arts, I still find an interest in science and maths. And you, obviously, how this all started, Mathcast, and it helped us gain a shared passion for maths.
Yeah, that's so true. I remember we did some of the first few episodes together, and it was really nice getting to share that passion and interest with someone else that kind of shared the same feelings towards the same shared interest. Yeah, and I think that was just so nice, because then we could develop on each other's like passions and stuff. And I kind of think back to it now, and it was really nice, and it still is to share something of common interest, especially that thing of STEM, because STEM is like an infinite almost canvas that you can explore and that you can discover. So you can never really be done with it.
And with developments like AI and artificial intelligence, which is the same thing, with developments like that, it's constantly evolving and turning into something incredible.
Yeah, and specifically with AI, that's kind of the more practical sense that people get to see more, because a lot of the things in math, for example, are things that are almost behind the scenes. Like GPS uses math a lot, but nobody really knows that, except if like
you've done intensive research into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not intensive, but
if you've done research into it, then you would know. But like people day to day, they know AI because it's made such a difference in our life now, and it's something that people have been speculating for a long amount of time. So when it actually happened, it was like, oh, okay, like a spotlight in STEM almost, which is really good for STEM fields, because there was almost a spotlight on that and how people actually develop these type of things using like the backhand.
It was definitely revolutionary in the fields.
Yeah, exactly. So delving a bit kind of to the high end of things, we both have done past women in STEM speeches. We're advocates for women in STEM, etc., etc. Can you talk to me a little bit about why you started doing that and why you joined this kind of community?
So I've always had an interest in women's rights, and it's been something that I've been interested in and always been an advocate for. For example, this year I'm leading World Women's Day in our school, and in our school we found a really high achieving community of women who've also had interest in women's rights and were women in STEM. So we've raised awareness of that community, and we've made it this thing that kind of holds us all together in the school.
Yeah, and I think our school is really good at making sure that there are equal opportunities for both men and women. I think that's something that we hadn't really had to deal with. But I think in a general wider scheme of things, like there's a lot of biases towards women, or sometimes even towards men. So I think it's important to address that.
Even though people say it's equal opportunity, there's going to be an underlying bias.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless of which way that pendulum is swaying, almost there's always going to be some sort of bias with people, and not just about your gender, but also like there's a lot of contributing factors like race, etc. But I think being a woman isn't something that can kind of contribute to that. Like you need to make sure that you know that you have the equal opportunities and that you are able to achieve.
Yeah, you're equally as able.
Yeah, you're equally as able. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. I think if anyone has a large dream and they work hard for that, they can achieve it.
They can make it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the takeaway from this.
Yeah. If you want to be a woman in STEM, be a woman in STEM, because it's a powerful position to be in, especially in the 21st century.
Yeah, and there are so many different opportunities that you can be part of. Like there's engineers, there's doctors, but that's just like
countless fields.
Common. Yeah, that's just the most common. But there are so many other like almost absurd names for
it's
things.
Inspiring to see the opportunities and the possibilities.
Yeah, and a lot of our jobs specifically haven't even been made yet.
Yeah.
So you need to keep your options open and know that, like,
for example, if you're like a year 7 now, then the job that you're probably going to do probably hasn't even been invented yet.
Yeah, and if you're passionate in a certain field, I think that's what's the most important. Knowing the kind of scope or range that you're interested in is more important than knowing what you actually want to be. Because, for example, if you're set on being a doctor, but for example, you don't get the grades that you want, unfortunately, that is just life, and life happens.
But the thing is, that because it's science, there are still so many opportunities that you can go into.
Yeah, exactly. So having your options open from the first step, I think, is one of the most important things to do. Like, knowing your options is good, but also being able to be flexible with your plans is something that I think is really important. And there are a lot of like universities that do look forward to people who are in STEM and who are like passionate about that. Yeah. So I think that's important to consider as well. Chloe, do you have anything to add?
If you think about aspirations and in terms of being in a job with STEM, because it's such a ambiguous field, there are so many jobs, like even just in the science field. If you want to be a doctor and then you start, if you think about surgery and that doesn't interest you, or you don't find that interesting, then think about it. You can go into research, you could go into experimentation. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and you can apply your knowledge to many different fields as well. So if you have knowledge on something, it's easily adaptable to similar areas in similar fields. So I think that's really important. So thank you so much, Chloe, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time.